We can talk about that.
But I think that's what's really important. Everybody in my sort of circle mentions your name as being the guy, knowing funnels and surveys and all that fun stuff. So if you can sort of give me a download as far as what your process is, because most people know what a funnel is, right? And it's being able to go through and take someone step by step through your marketing sales funnel. But can you walk through like what your tactics are and what really worked in the different businesses that you've had?
Sure. So if I could sum it up, it's really predicated on starting by asking. That's the reason why the title of our book is Ask. It's about asking the right questions at the right time and using surveys online in a very specific way to figure out answers to questions that are going to lead people down a very specific path. So I'm going to start with a metaphor, sort of an analogy, and then I'm going to get down to tactically exactly what we're talking about. So in the online world, for some reason, the way we try to sell is very different than when you and I might have a conversation, right? So if you and I were having a conversation about our survey software, for example, you might say, hey, Ryan, I hear you have this survey software. Is this something that you think like I might be able to use in my business? Well, the absolute last thing that I'm going to do is say, oh my God, Jimmy, yes, it is the best survey software out there and you have to buy it. In fact, here's the link and you need to buy it and here's a countdown timer and buy right now, go. Right?
Oh, okay. Like, where do I click? Your face? No.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Instead, use this in your business.
I love that. Okay, so let's getting back to the funnel piece.
Sure.
Okay, so we've got needs. We know what our buckets are. We know what the new products and stuff like that we might have, or maybe we have current products that actually work with our buckets, which is good. What do we do from there?
So there are two basic models. So one is you've got multiple products that you might have. You might run people through a survey, and then typically what I do is the survey basically looks like this. So it's a landing page. On the landing page is a video. The video sells people on the idea of why they should take the survey. We're not even calling it a survey, right? People hate surveys. They don't want to take a survey. Here's a quick little tip for everybody on the call. People actually like taking quizzes. So a quiz is something that you can use, but in many cases, you don't even want to call it anything. It's just, you're not calling it a survey. You're just saying if you answer a few simple questions, I can kind of point you in the right direction. You want to keep it sort of informal. After they answer those questions, usually the last step in that process, for me, culminates in an email opt-in form. So it's now that you've answered a few simple questions, I've got your customized recommendation for you. Just tell me, where would you like me to send it? What email address would you like me to send it to? And I'll direct you to the best place right now. So they enter their email address or name and email, and then from there they click submit, and then they're taken to a specific page that's going to vary depending on how they answer the survey questions. So if they, and oftentimes, and here's another key metric that I like to aim for, because the thing that stalls people at this stage is they get overwhelmed. They say, well, I could have 100 different buckets in my market. Like I could have 100 different sales pages. Like, oh my God, my head is totally spinning. The number I'm looking for, and this is a writer downer, is I'm trying to address 80% of the market in 3 to 5 buckets. Okay, 80% of the market in 3 to 5 buckets. Now, why that number? Well, you're never going to be able to address 100% of your market because there's always going to be outliers. Right? In our rocket memory business where we teach people how to improve their memory, there's always going to be some people who come in with what's called TBI, traumatic brain injury. We're not going to, we don't, like that's not, you need to see a doctor. Like if you have TBI, like that is a physician thing. We help people memorize things, but they come to us saying, I need help with my memory. Can you help me? We're not going to have a solution for them. So there's always going to be that 20% or so that you're not going to be able to address. Why 3 to 5 buckets? Well, 3 to 5 is I'm a big fan of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 principle. So what's going to take 20% of the amount of time or 20% of the work that's going to give you 80% of the results. And 3 to 5 buckets tends to be that 80-20. It's enough to make a difference where it's significantly better than just one bucket. At the same time, it's doable. We're not talking 10 buckets. 10 buckets, if you go down that path, I'll tell you right now, you're gonna create too much work for yourself. The project's never gonna get off the ground. If this is your first time ever, I would err towards the side of being conservative and just do 3 buckets.